Welcome, guys, to the podcast. Today, we're going through a deep dive into understanding energy, frequency, vibration, resonance, and what that really means, and what is resonating, and why we define and talk about it as if there's a difference between the electromagnetism and resonance in of itself. It's because you're leaving a certain processes within a 3D reality, obtaining high levels of consciousness that go beyond the electromagnetism of this 3D reality. So it's going from duality to non-duality. And so understanding the deeper nature of these mechanisms will embody all things and have you have moments of epiphanies that are non-stop. And don't forget to stay to the end of the video where we go through an exercise that gives you an example. And quite frankly, throughout this whole episode, there are pockets of experiences that you have that I share with you that are related to numbers, words, letters, symbols, and they're all integrated into the very conversation. So you are constantly experiencing this evidence of what energy, vibration, frequency, resonance, and how they all collect together. Enjoy the video. To the power of 9, to the power of 18, to the abundance of 72. Realize all is one, one is all. The facets of the diamond. The expression of all things. To look outside is to be absent. To realize all is one, one is all. The name that cannot be named. Right here, right now. Welcome to the Consciousness of the Way. My divine, delectable co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. I'm just sort of hanging on the rest of that energetic charge that we're all experiencing right now. A perfect example of what resonance is, which happens to be the very topic that we're going deep into. Frequency, energy, vibration, numbers, letters, symbols, words, integrated deep within the tapestry of your reality. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master Sun Qing. Ow! That's right. This seems to be the sort of like half a dozen, 1/6 of the other contemplation. And quite frankly, you know, you're going to experience all these different variables, but in reality, everything takes place instantaneously. Once you attune yourself, all things are realized. So, you know, what I will say to this, and the caveat to this very understanding that we're going to go through, is the more you think, the more you do not know. Yeah. straight from the scripture. If you have to learn it, you do not know it. If you know it, you do not have to learn it. So the deeper you look for a conscious understanding of all things, the farther away you will constantly be distracted to never finding that very answer. Thank you, Latsu. And as I say that, and you feel that amplitude just by me measuring that, and because we're on this roller coaster ride today of resonance, oh yeah, just welcoming Latsu into this space as he always is, and you feel that percolation of oscillation that is created by me just mentioning his very name. And now as I turn up the amplitude and let it oscillate a little bit. How is that possible? How am I experiencing the very second that seafood mentions this, and it's being expressed through my physical body? This is what we call resonance, baby. Mm-hmm. And so, is it remember to forget to remember? Half a dozen, 1/6 of the other. Does the dog wag the tail, or does the tail wag the dog? It's an understanding that everything has a frequency. And that frequency, when obtained in the very understanding the fabric of many theories that are put out before us, and you can go in all different types of directions, whether it's a law that is generated to represent the very understanding of the mechanisms of the universe, i.e., hermetic, comedic principles, or just something that you have defined as your structure of your reality, it all comes back to that very frequency. Mm-hmm. And so, what seems to be very popular because many people don't want to, follow the path, and it literally is a frequency. It's a resonance that you experience that guides you to that very thing. The amplitude that I'm speaking of, and when I say amplitude, I'll say it one more time. Amplitude. Oh, you feel that through your chest. You feel that through the very essence of your flesh and blood. And let's just oscillate it a little bit. Yeah. How are you doing that? Seafood. What's going on?
So is there a difference between frequency and resonance?
Yes. And so I don't allude to, but we speak on this quite often on this channel. It's where electromagnetism ends and resonance begins. And it's not a double negative in meaning. It's just something that the 0 point, which is the Wu Ji, the stillness, the actual perfection manifest that is the Tao, that is representative in many different forms, but you can actually correlate it to the superglue that quantum physicists will consider the black hole energy. Everything has a resonance, but within the spectrum of electromagnetism, the frequency of the oneness, the singular, the Tao, the Wu Ji, is beyond something that you can measure in a Hertz register. So within electromagnetic reality, which we define as duality, it goes beyond. So if you want to sort of imagine, we don't really need to imagine, you will experience it all, this whole episode. Oh, yeah. Oh, you like that? Me, you see, my actual breath is tuned into your frequency within your physicality, and that if why is it I'm feeling this surge and expansion and accumulation and then expansion just from seafood, even just saying these things, and then his breath alone, because I've attuned to your frequency, and then we resonate at that. So my ability to attune to that is part of the mastery. Everyone can do it. But the mastery comes from the very deep nature of this. And so if you start breaking it in conceptually, you will forever be chasing the myriad of different ways that you are going to access this resonance. But the frequency goes beyond time and space. That's why we always talk about you enter the lip of the black hole, which is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. And at that event horizon is the passing of one baton to another. It's the duality of electromagnetism and the entry of this resonance that is all things. It's not in a dualistic presence. So it's a frequency that is beyond this 3D reality. Does this make sense? So all of a sudden, we always reference the electromagnetism because these are measurable spectrums within this 3D reality. And they are absolutely founded on the mechanisms of duality. So there's a good, a bad, an up, a down, an in and out, a left, a right. And with that, it has its own frequency. So what happens is the vibration creates the frequency. Right? And so what is when something vibrates, it generates a frequency. And if you want it to vibrate and when we talk about it, when you create manifestation, magic, healing, you are creating, oh, yeah, you like that, huh? You are creating a frequency that is equal to or greater than. And I say greater than because you want it to be the default. You want it to be the very tipping imprint, the doppelganger of whatever it is that you are tuning to. So when you do that, it will be materialized instantaneously. That will be an instant manifestation, an instant magic, instant healing. And that's the mastery, is to attune to that. And that's why the resonation of this frequency goes beyond what is measurable within this 3D reality. And so the spectrum of these things come in the form, starting with the vibration, and the frequency is the amount of times that it is oscillating, it is vibrating. That is the frequency. So when we speak of brain waves, we're talking about beta, delta, alpha, theta, epsilon, gamma, lambda, high lambda. It is a frequency, a hertz, how many times that it vibrates, right? The hertz frequency, the vibration. And so by having a deeper understanding of this, and the fact that you feel like there's some type of like pressure in your chest because I am talking, is me just, I'm already there. I'm meeting you right there at your frequency. And now I'm resonating. And when I'm resonating, oh, whoa. It's happy days are here again. Huh? So, knowing this, you can start to put together the understanding. Now, this is where letters, words, numbers, symbols are all relevant, because you are matching this frequency. You're matching it so that you can obtain a manifestation, magic healing. You know, just before this podcast, one of my kids has got a tooth coming in, and there's all these things going on in their mouth, and it presents sort of like this congestion or buildup that is being released through the cycling of, she loses one teeth and she gains another one tooth and she gains another one, and so there was some congestion of stagnated energy, and I just attuned to it and instantly removed the stagnation. And from a physicality perspective, you will witness the dissolving of, swollen tissue, whatever it was. It just happened to be that. And it took like 1 second, and all pain, all swelling, everything disappeared. Because it's a frequency that you're meeting. Now, if I'm not meeting the frequency, then it's not going to resonate. You understand what I'm saying? It's like we use the example of a glass. You've seen Hollywood movies where the opera singer is hitting a tone, and all of a sudden all the glass breaks. That's in theory what would happen if you met the frequency of the glass. You would meet that frequency, and you would have to hold that frequency, the resonance of that, from the vibration. The vibration creates the frequency, and then the resonance, you're meeting that resonance. Okay. And so you're aligned. This is the very basic understanding of what quantum physics is. We're all interconnected. Once you meet it, you can, and this is how we do distant healing. We connect a room of 1,000 people, 10 people, one person, and all I do is attune to your vibration, and it meets the frequency, and now we're resonating.
So would you say that resonance is when two frequencies come together, meeting at the same?
Well, you
vibration.
become. It's like you're the doppelganger.
Right.
If you want, it's like this is where a lot of people talk about manifestation, magic healing, and especially with the manifestation, it's like meet the frequency and it'll be realized. All these frequencies are there. They've already been created. All you need to do is to meet that dimension that it is present, it's already been generated, and it will be realized instantaneously within your 3D reality. So a vibration will evoke a frequency within whatever it is. So what's a quick way to do that? You go and you take a pen and you pencil pen and you tap a glass, and you've created a vibration, and the frequency is how many times that it vibrates, right? So it vibrates X amount of times. If you meet that frequency, now you're in tune with a resonance. And then and that will be evident in how long it holds that. When you click it, it goes ding. that will be how long that it holds that tone. But you won't be able to change. Every time you create a vibration, the frequency will remain the same. It will repeat itself. And for you to access that, you must be at the same frequency of that vibration, which creates the resonance. Does that make sense?
Right. So I guess if I'm understanding it, when the two come together, that's where it creates a resonance, or is the resonance around us at all times?
Well, the resonance
into it.
is all things. Like the present moment, you create a resonance, right? So you're resonating. For you to access the present moment, it has a resonance, which is a frequency that is created by a vibration.
Okay.
Right? So everything
So
has energy moving through.
It goes like vibration, then frequency, then resonance.
Right.
And it'll kind of go in that order.
Yeah. And the resonance is you maintaining that frequency.
Right.
And you're meeting the same frequency of the vibration.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you do that, you get this so energy, electric and magnetic. Electric is your thoughts, magnetism is your feelings. You create a culmination of the two, and everything in your reality is a thought, feeling, and an emotion. That's the secret sauce. So with everything, there is a vibration.
Yes.
And if you meet that vibration and you are able to replicate that frequency of that vibration, you create the resonance.
Gotcha.
And that resonance then results in accessing whatever that is instantaneously, instantly. And so, most people, and that's why the power of Qigong is so second to none, because you're mastering the energetic components of your physicality that is the infrastructure within the tissue. And then you can actually concentrate energy and you can project it any way you want, and you create a vibration that is met at a frequency level, and then it resonates. And if you meet that frequency, that vibration, and you meet the frequency of what it is that you're looking for, you resonate. And that's why we talk about electromagnetic components being so different, right? So the feeling is so critical, because it's like you literally have a thought. The thought is, oh my goodness, I'm going to what is it? I'm going to go to play a football in a football game, and my thought is I'm going to lose. I feel it. I feel that. And there is an actual frequency that goes with that feeling that creates the vibration. And so that frequency, you're sitting at that frequency. I'm a loser. You stay at that frequency. You then connect with that and resonate with the loser frequency, the loser vibration that has that frequency, and you're staying at that frequency. So you're just saying, hey, I'm a loser. I'm meeting the frequency of a loser. I identify with it. That vibration that I'm feeling is now staying there. And if I resonate with it long enough, which is instantaneous, it will be met with the realization that I've lost. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I kind of think of it like a tsunami. Like a tsunami doesn't just happen. It's formed from like an earthquake in the ocean. Mm-hmm. That vibration frequency then creates the rippling effect.
So the vibration creates a certain frequency that is maintaining it.
And then that resonance creates what would be a tsunami.
Right, yeah. And so the resonance is what that's the rubber, where the rubber meets the road and it's all dissolved. Mm-hmm. And that's why we talk about the electromagnetic, and there's nothing on the face of the earth that can measure the resonance of this oneness, right? You know it. You witness it when you see a healing, manifestation, magic.
Right.
That's the oneness. That's the non-dualistic presence, and it's evident with you by many different factors that are registered to realize that in the form of manifestation, magic, and healing.
It's like that coming together at that peak of the mountain. You hit that top and you are all things.
Right.
You are everything, the universe, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, a different dimensional.
Right. And so, it's very popular. Everyone talks about Nikola Tesla, energy, frequency, vibration. I speak on it, have for over 30 years. Everything is energy, frequency, vibration, frequency, energy. You get what I'm saying? So you take whatever it is, a cup, a mic. A mic is a clustered form of light wave to matter, right? From your attention, intention that is being formed to create this on a much deeper level, because your attention has transmuted this from light to wave to matter, right? In essence. And so it's slowed down its frequency from the vibration that has generated this, that this resonance is how it's created. So if you want to meet and create the same vibration as this and meet the same frequency, then the result is the resonance. Does this make sense?
Yeah. I was thinking about if you've ever taken swim class or something, when they teach you how to float, it's like you have to meet the frequency of the water or the pool. And most of the time it's in a pool. So it's extremely calm, almost not moving. Right. And that's when you meet that, then you can float. But if you're, flopping your hands around and kicking your feet, you're not going to float. But if you are as still as the water in essence.
Right. You float.
Just with.
Right. So it's like the energy is you.
Exactly.
You merge into the water. The water is another energy. You create a vibration that meets the same vibration as the water, and then you're creating a frequency that you're meeting at, and then you resonate. Does this make sense?
Yeah, and you're almost you are a part of it now.
Right.
It is.
And then all of a sudden you match the frequency of the water, and that resonation is the validation of that.
Wow.
Epiphany moment?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. Yes, I think it's just powerful to explain it in this way for a lot of people, especially I think manifestation and magic and healing is almost so lightly looked over that people go, oh yeah, I just manifested. I just, they kind of just.
And they can't repeat it.
They kind of just toss it away. And this understanding this and explaining it, I think is really going to help people get back there and be able to do it in a way that they feel confident, because they have more of an understanding of, okay, I need to be a part of that thing or person or place that I'm looking to manifest. It's not just this kind of let me rub my magic genie lamp and make a wish. No, it's you vibrate with it the same way you do, trying to float or floating in a pool.
Yeah, it's like a secret sauce. So you have to be able to deconstruct whatever it is and be able to attune to the vibration, that vibration of whatever it is that you're looking for, and replicate the frequency that generates the resonance.
Wow.
Right? Without that, you're going to be lost. But then again, understanding these mechanisms can keep you forever separated from whatever it is, that's why we always talk about the feeling.
Yes.
And once that feeling is generated, it's like, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
So, within the Way 126, use a visual, audible experience creating the kinesthetic charge that gives you go time. It's the Death Star moment. So that is you meeting the frequency that creates the resonance, and you resonate with that frequency from the vibration of whatever it is that you want to create. You understand? So when that takes place, we measure it within our app. You literally instantly access a brainwave, a gamma brainwave, which is a healing brainwave. And we've gone over this with our channel. This is the state you get at, and that brainwave starts to be very evident when you start measuring, EEGs on someone's brain activity, that it's at 40 hertz and above, and so it's operating really quickly. That's how fast it's moving.
Like you said, faster than light speed.
Right, and like I said, when I channel Latsu, I'm at between 100 and 200. And at some point, I'll get the devices that can measure even beyond that. But that is present by what you experience. And you're like, holy crap, the resonance is so crazy. Mm-hmm. And it instantly manifests magic healing. And you experience it. You're feeling it. Because how are you feeling it? Because you're meeting that. It doesn't happen without you meeting that. So it's evoking what's already inside you that you can actually experience that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So your ability to experience that is now being replicated.
Or activated.
Yeah, or activated. And, a new friend of the channel, an incredible guy that we're going to have his podcast out really soon, Brent's Spirit, we go deep into Kundalini activation. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And once you turn that system on, all bets are off. And that's why our Nigong, he refers to Kundalini within his practices, and Nigong is what we use, our inner power, the cultivation of the alchemical response within the physical body, evoking what we call the sacred secretion, which, we activate the Wuji body, like the charge that you guys are getting right now that just seems to sit right up and down your spine like an electric papa. That is energy.
Yeah.
And that energy is, you're meeting that, and that's how you're able to experience it, right? So you're now experiencing something that the energy has evoked a vibration, and that frequency is met with a resonance, and that's why we're in tune. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Pretty, mind-blowing stuff when you sort of start to unpack it and realize how powerful it is. But it's all conceptual to most people until you feel it. Mm-hmm. And then feeling it can transmit into something or nothing. It's like, this is where we talk about, Tom Campbell and I talk about the entropy level. That entropy level cannot be, peppered with all these distorted ideas or emotions. Emotions create the very essence that we're speaking of, right? The emotions evoke a vibration equal to a frequency, and you resonate with that. So if you're angry, that anger is a very high entropy level. And so that anger will distance you from obtaining whatever it is that you're looking for. And it, in essence, the entropy will be very distorted and very turbulent and very, it's going to get ugly. Mm-hmm. And so, that's why we talk about the mastery of the emotions. And, and Brent and I were talking about this in much detail, is understanding that you can observe this. Like for him, he had an epiphany And for me, it was a very similar realization decades ago when it happened to me. I can literally have the presence of a thought and observe it. And what happens with anything that comes in, it's like a blank screen. Everything is black. It's void. And then I have the option where a thought will present itself, and it will come in the form of a thought. That means that it will literally look like a picture, as if I'm sitting here at the desk and I'm going through pictures going, oh, this is a pretty cool picture that I'm looking at right now. And then it will change its variable when it's an actual spirit. Will come in a solid form, like just as you see jade, and that will be all-encompassing. That will embody the space in the room, and I will be able to identify with my eyes open the spirit that's present. And this is also an expression of consciousness, as we talk about within Tom Campbell and I speaking, and his definition of the theory of all things. You know, my big toe, the large consciousness system, is giving me a facet of consciousness, and I'm identifying and being able to access that through a spirit entity that comes in this solid form that is palpable. It is visible as you look at jade with my eyes open. And so that's a completely different thing. So we're looking at these things, and they're all, and you know, the charge that just doesn't leave you, that's, you know, running up and down what we call our Tai Chi pole, and you're experiencing it going, WTF, this is like one mic drop after another. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. And so understanding this means that, and this mastery is accessible to all people. You know, Brent has his own experience. I'm going to be on his channel in the near future here, and I'm going to go through and share my epiphany and realization and how I came through that through the alchemical mastery, the internal alchemy, and that will be really present. And once you, there's no right or wrong way up the mountain, guys. Always come to this realization. Always realize that you're getting a micro dose of what you need right here, right now. And as Hans would say, is it contracting or expanding? Right? And so on a very, very simplistic understanding of all these things, what are you experiencing, a contraction or expansion? And you could start there, and, you know, if you want to level up on a deeper nature of things and you want something repeatable that's in your 3D reality, then you go into more defined mastery, and that's what we teach people to do. Define the mastery so that you're able to discern, affirm what is going on in your reality. So, as I said, thoughts will come in the form of literally, it looks like a polarized, a Polaroid, and it will present itself. There is a backdrop. Nothing exists but this backdrop. My eyes are open. I can be in the present moment of just observing things. I can be in another dimension where I'm sampling a state of consciousness that is representative of moving through the universe, or I could be in a place somewhere else in the world. Like right now, I'm literally standing in the Great Wall of China, and I'm experiencing and palpating that energy as it surges through my whole physical body. Oh, yeah. How about you resonate with that? You like that? Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go. Look. Isn't that easy? Yeah. Yet, there are levels and degrees of understanding. And it's so funny because that was like a concentrated, contractive moment when I shared that with people. Level of fear, however you want to perceive it. Now, when you are doing these things and this mastery, we always talk about you are the master, keeper, creator of your reality. So the mastery that you acquire through our app is the ability to literally not, you go from first person, third person to no person, and you're able to literally observe. You're not engaged in your emotions as your personality as you believe it is. You're able to put it in the corner and go, sit over there, roll over, play dead. I'll bring you back when necessary. And that's part of the mastery. And that's your ability to access high states of consciousness through this realization. And so when you get deeper into this is the fundamentals. And so things come in the form of photos. I'm like, as if I'm looking at and it will present itself like that, and it will literally burn up or dissolve as if I set it on fire. The first time that happened freaked me out. But it's an observation. And it's the LCS is giving me my palpable version, but this is a version that is repeatable in what we teach people. And then your ability to then take the energy that has a vibration, and then it has a frequency, and you meet that frequency and you resonate with it. And that resonation means you meet your manifestation, magic, and healing instantaneously with these building blocks and understanding. And so when you're able to do that, and Brent and I had a consensus about that, he had his own epiphany, how he derived to that very moment through his own practices, more, within the framework of what we speak of, Kundalini, and then what transpires after that activation, what actually takes place, and what you can then achieve with that. And we go pretty deep on the mastery and our own development within the Qigong system, the inner power system, the development of the dantians, the energy field, the elixir that we speak of within Taoism. And then it becomes palpable that you can literally concentrate your attention, intention, and meet anything from light, wave to matter. And then that has a vibration. That vibration is then the frequency of that. You meet the resonance, and all bets are off of what your possibilities are. And so this kind of mastery is how you acquire all things in your reality. But it must start with an understanding. And people struggle with the emotional content, and they make it so much about themselves, and they get stuck in the weeds. And the result is always the same, which is deficient, because anxiety, fear, anger, sadness, these are all traits of a simulation of the humanness, and they are a distraction. And once you realize you can experience them, and they don't have to be the narrative of your very reality, magical things start taking place.
Yeah, I was thinking about how masterful and consciously or unconsciously directors making these kind of cult favorite movies, Star Wars, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Pulp Fiction, they create this frequency, they create this vibration within the movie, and then you have this resonance that people just whoosh, literally magnetize to and stick on. And they're I don't want to use the word obsessive, but they're just so attached to it. And I think that's such a powerful thing to kind of see that in very everyday life, how you are attracted to certain movies and stuff, because that is and such a frequency.
I mean, that goes deeper into feng shui.
Exactly.
For what we do, what we are masters at, what we teach people in, and what I do quite often when people come to us for this very nature of understanding. It's directing the energy using an understanding that everything transmits and is at a certain resonance. From the frequency, you create this resonance. And so everything, there isn't an exception that doesn't have an energetic field, and that energetic field generates vibration. The vibration has a frequency, When you meet that frequency, you create the resonance. Doesn't matter what it is. And so understand that this is all energy, all of it. Light to wave to matter, particle to matter, particle and matter, same, two are the same. I just like saying it. And so when you come to that realization, just as Jade said, you know, Star Wars has an energy, right? And it's a palpable energy that was imprinted by George Lucas through his culmination of many things that he put together, but everything. So if you, whatever it is, like it has a structure to it that will maintain the frequency.
Yes.
And so the energy is what we call Qi, what we call the Wu Ji, which is all things, right? So all of it is perfection. This is what we call the quantum field. And with your attention, intention, you create a cluster from wave to light to matter to particle that generates a something that is now not within the perfect flow of what we call the oneness. And so it has a different vibration and a different frequency that is not the same as the tapestry of the oneness that we call the mother of all things. And so imagine, you know, you have this, the tapestry of the universe is this straight sheet, right? And you can use it just, you know, just a sheet that is perfectly straight, and you're just holding it in your hands. And then you create from light to wave to matter to particle through your attention intention. You have taken that energy, that sheet, and formed what we perceive as something that has a vibration through your attention. It's clustered, and it has a vibration, and it has its own frequency because of how it is formed within this 3D reality. And then that resonance is individually unique to this energy that has formed what you perceive in front of you. And so the tapestry is seamless. And then you create this thing, and it's like dropping a ball into the sheet, and now it's formed around what you have created with your attention intention. Does this make sense? And so now that's formed. So now it has a different vibration and frequency and resonance than perfection.
Right.
Right? And, you know, for you to create the default, you return things to perfection, right? So it has to be met with equal to or greater than. I always say greater than. Most people go, what are you talking about? If it's equal to, it's the same. That's all you need to do. Because greater than is ultimately perfection. So you want to do something like change the form of metal and bend it with your attention intention. You are meeting the resonance of perfection, the Tao, the mother of all things. And because you're seamless and you're all things at once, you have met the vibration, and you are now replicating the frequency. You have met the frequency of that energy, the vibration, and now you are resonating with it, and you're able to bend it like butter. Ooh.
And when you start to kind of get this perspective and look at everything around you as like a frequency, a vibration, am I connecting? Am I disconnecting? Am I aligning or not aligning? You start to really go, okay, I need to start valuing what I'm doing. Now I'm aware. Now my consciousness has been leveled up.
Right.
Now let's start taking that into control, and let me start, clearing out all the stuff I don't want, bringing in a bunch of stuff I do want.
Right.
And I think that's where our app really comes
Yeah.
in to help people get a baseline for that, because now you have that understanding and that perspective. You can start making those alterations to start creating and truly manifesting what it is that you want within your life.
Oh, yeah, because the app, it synchronizes your energy centers so that you are the universe.
Exactly.
You are the oneness. You are the Wu Ji. You are the mother of all things. And when you,
I know I was going to say the chill,
right?
the chill you get from just saying
that's what
that.
happens with the energy centers when you do that. And all you have to do is turn up.
Yes.
And it entrains you to create new synapses, information energy highways of the brain that turn on the neural soft technology that you possess as your humanist flesh and blood, and the energetic architecture is realized, and we microdose you so you don't have something that might be adverse, which never is, because you should never be afraid. The first red flag is when someone makes you fearful. But understand we're slowly turning the lights on. What's that old ad for Motel 6? We'll leave the lights on.
We'll leave the lights on for you.
And so we're microdosing you, and each week you obtain another synchronicity of that energy center. And it has a certain pattern.
Frequency.
And of course, frequency. And it aligns. And just me doing this, you can feel that through the bottom of your back, which is your Tai Chi pole, which is the lower energy center. And I'm just turning it and coiling it up into what is the expression of that energy flow, right? And you can just feel that. It's like, holy moly, and it is instantaneous. But, you have to meet that, right? And that's what we do with the app. It synchronizes all your energy centers.
Yes.
And so what happens is you will have a dramatic effect, whether you'll fall asleep, you'll pass out from the energy being calibrated and realigned, or you'll instantly get a surge of as the energy centers are dialing in to the frequency that is perfection, and you resonate with that and you stay with that, and you just feel this supercharge of energy because you're there. And then it's representative in your brain waves, right?
Yeah.
And so all these things correlate together, and they're building blocks that make that realized to you. And so Feng Shui is so powerful because we look at everything. Everything has energy. Everything is energy, excuse me. And so it has an energy field within it. Even a can, a cup, an inanimate object that you would think is lifeless is not. It is energy. So it has the same energy infrastructure and architecture as what you perceive as your physical body. So you can actually access the energy centers of whatever that is. And what you do within Feng Shui, we dial in, because everything has its own. So if it's a certain shape, oh, there we go. How's that feel, guys? How's that feel? And so this shape in of itself has a vibration. And that vibration creates the frequency that is necessary for this shape to materialize. Now, for you must resonate at that same frequency to be able to match it, to be able to embody whatever that is. Oh.
Yeah.
And so with Feng Shui, we use deep, powerful magic, and that's why it's so deep and powerful. We have incantation, we have talismans. Every shape has its own frequency, my friends. Everything. So when we imprint something and we create a talisman for an individual, it's so palpable. Like if I create the talisman right now for the three pure ones, oh yeah. And you can feel that instantaneously. And so when we interlayer it into a magical script or a specific manifestation that's deeply layered in all these different components, each line, each letter, each word, each symbol has its own frequency. And you align that, you put that into play and how it's structured when you understand how to use the magic is what we teach you. And then it has its fundamental effect in what we call your reality.
Yeah, just powerful stuff, and definitely a little bit of a different perspective for people to be able to grasp this, because it can seem very it's a big concept until you actually feel it, and then when you feel it, you have a much better understanding of, okay, now I have this new tool. How do I want to play with it? How do I want to implement it? How do I want to activate it so that I can really see the development within me?
Right. And, you look at things and people have throwaway words like sacred geometry. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's an infrastructure for you to realize this. Even though you may not see it, and you may not initially feel it. That's why we always stress about the inner alchemy as being a developmental skill, because then you can really feel it.
Right.
And you know when these gears are being shifted instantaneously in this reality, and you know the outcome, and it's repeatable. Mm-hmm. So when you do this, this happens. When you do that, this happens. And it starts with what you would perceive as an object. This object has a vibration. This vibration creates a frequency. There's a certain amount of times this must oscillate to generate whatever this is in this reality. And then you resonate with that and you acquire the very same. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about the Wu Ji, which we speak of between the breath in and the breath out, oh yeah, you are resonating with everything I'm saying right now because you're feeling it through your whole physical body. Mm-hmm. And it's like, holy moly, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And so this is how we attune. You attune. And so all these people are like, oh, you could just, everything is already, all possibilities have already been created. Use this assumption, which people will call the law of assumption, which basically is you understanding or validating your belief system. How is that validated? It's validated by you being able to acquire a result. Mm-hmm. It means nothing. It's like, oh, I've heard this law of assumption. What does that mean? It means that I'm assuming everything has already been created, so all I need to do is vibrate and create the frequency of whatever it is that I want, and then resonate with that, and poof, Bob's your uncle. And it is very simplistic. What I find through my journey of teaching people over 30 years of this stuff is that they're so far in their head, or their head is up there, that you know, the deconstruction of these very things are critical, and that comes in all different forms. Past life readings, energetic flow, which is the critical part, the torrid field, what we talk about, celestial heat. Mm-hmm. And just when I go, oh yeah, how's that feel? You feel that heat as if I'm blowing heat down your spine. You're welcome. This is all fundamentally an attunement. This is a mastery that I've acquired from past lives to this present life, and a realization of that through the system that millions of people before us, millions of generations before us have continually moved in this groove. And that's why everything we teach is so deep, steeped in this ancestral, celestial realm that's palpable. And when it's handed to you, when you're trained in it, you can feel it. That is the resonance that comes from the teaching, comes from the very architecture of this stuff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say my mind's blown right now too. And
Right.
I think that is kind of the exciting part about it is you don't necessarily have to be sitting there and tracking everything to be like, am I shifting? Am I leveling up? Am I evolving? You just have these moments that just are a little reminder of, yes, keep doing everything you're doing. Do a little bit more of this, do a little bit more of that.
And so when we talk about the end of electromagnetism and the beginning of resonance, is that there isn't a light spectrum in the 3D reality that can measure what we speak of. And that's what we call the present moment instantly. Has it still got its own vibration and frequency? Yes. But in a deeper nature of it, let's just cut to the chase and realize that it can't be measured. It's so the frequency is so off the chart, you can't measure it.
Well, you can measure it by how you feel it, and
Well,
you
the
as
result.
as the tuning fork.
Yeah, you can measure it by the
maybe
result.
not scientific
Well, yeah,
measurements
I'm just using
at
that as
this
a
point, but yes,
well,
you yourself are the measurement.
we're doing all this stuff and have for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, and all of a
Exactly.
sudden we have this language called
Science.
physics and science that goes, yeah, you know what, you're right. Oh, thank you so much. It's kind of like going around telling someone what they already know, or my classic analogy is like going into someone's house, going to their sink, filling up a glass of water, and then handing it to them, and then your answer to handing them a glass of their water from their sink is, "You're welcome." Does this make sense to you? So, with all these things in play, the deeper nature of all that is why our magic is so powerful, and you can dial things in right down to the last little notch. Because everything, I repeat, everything. And so, the resonance of the temple we're in is on a whole nother level. When people walk into this sacred land, they literally can feel it as they're coming here, let alone when they're present on the land, let alone they're present sitting in this temple. It is a resonance that is second to none. And it's like bringing them home. They're like, whoa. Because remember, your physical body is the tuning fork to your reality.
Yes.
And this soft technology is nothing more than that. It's still accumulating and registering the experience, the very experience that you're having. And so when I go and I channel Latsu, he's literally just, I become the open vessel, and he enters and is resonating at a level that is picked up by my ability to expand, to attune to that. And by tuning to that frequency, he enters and you get a result of information that's coming from the highest level of consciousness. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always like throw the bathwater out with the baby with the bathwater, half a dozen, 1/6 of the other.
That's a horrible analogy. No, I'm just saying what an awful,
Yeah.
what an awful saying that is.
Right. And so, when you're doing these things, understand there's a structure. And like within the magic, there's a structure. Within the cultivation, there's a structure. And so whether you're aware of it or not, these things are taking place. And, I have a lot of people that come to me that are working through people casting lower frequency stuff on them, i.e. black magic. It happens all the time. And I can deconstruct that stuff in like seconds because it can't hold its frequency when it's polarized or it's overridden with a resonance that is the resonance of all things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like breaking up as you witness, any of these sci-fi movies where someone exits the gravitational pull of the earth and they enter the atmosphere, and all of a sudden things self-combust because it's not at the same frequency. It can't contain itself. the frequency is not maintained because you're entering a different dimension. Does that make sense? And so as you enter there, your entropy level becomes high, as Tom would say. And so the distortion, it can't maintain the frequency, and then it explodes, right? So when you're in the presence of things, when people come to me and they've got issues with people casting, black magic and things of that nature, there are some of the quickest things that I dissolve in like a fraction of a second. Yes, I've been doing this a long time, and I can alter the frequency very quickly. But when they present themselves, it always starts with a cluster of emotional states that are attached to an event, a place, person, or thing. And from that, it festers and grows into what they perceive as their reality, right? And so this has, as everything is, an emotion, energy, right? So the energy from that is then creating, it has a vibration. And that vibration is resonating a certain frequency. And that frequency is all you need to create the resonance, is meet that or be greater than. When you're greater than, it cannot hold the line. It will not hold the line. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Oh, I'm having a moment tapping into Jack Nicholson from A Few Good Men. Answer the question. Answer the question. I'm Tom Cruise right now. Yeah. Answer the question. Did you order that code red? Did you order that code red? And you can feel the energy that I'm speaking on just right now, tapping into that scene. And then Jack Nicholson goes, "You're damn straight I ordered that code red. You need me on that wall. You want me on that wall. You sleep at night in your comfy little, soft little bed while I'm out there protecting you, doing the job that you could never do." Anyway, I'm just getting a little out there, but tapping into it, you guys feel that resonance. You are feeling that frequency. It is surging through you. You're like, holy moly, because I just tapped into it. Answer the question. Did you order that code red? Oh, man, that was such a good movie. But that's a great example.
Yeah. Because
you're experiencing what I'm speaking of right now. The energy is present. It's a vibration. It oscillates at a frequency. And if you resonate with that, you experience it. You can create whatever that is. And you can be the doppelganger. The great wonderment of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Wizard of Oz. You turn into whatever it is. That's that liquid metal moment of the T1000 that just morphs into the present moment, which is what we speak of, the Wu Ji, the oneness, the mother of all things, the Tao. Oh, yeah. And when you do that, there is no title, place, person, or thing.
Void of time and space.
Void of time and space. But yeah, right on, Jackie boy. I got to admit, Tom Cruise was looking pretty damn fine in that movie. He was all tanned out and looked good in his little,
clean,
vanilla white navy suit, and just the vibrancy that he still has. But they tap into that vibrant energy of Tom Cruise. And now the vibration equals the frequency. And that frequency is how you hold that line. So when you're experiencing it, how do you hold it? You're the tuning fork. This is why things are transient. They come and go because you don't have the skill set at that present moment to maintain it. Does this make sense? And so your resonance is transient. Oh, yeah. And so when someone like myself who's been doing this for many decades, I can bring it in and share it with you. You experience it, and then you go, oh, but I want it. Seafood, I want it. And I'm like, you will have it. Oh, yes, you will. It will be yours. little pretty. Oh, yes. Is that Gollum? I think from Lord of the Rings. Anyway, he's so pretty, my little precious. And so this is part of it. And that's why things become temporary. You get alternative healers, and they're like, oh, I'm the light body, I'm the energy. And they start separating all these things. I got to get into my Superman suit. I got to do. Once you master this, what will be evident within your experience, the empirical data will be evident by your repeatable experience, manifestation, magic, and healing. And it all comes from a system. And once you obtain that, all bets are off.
Mm-hmm. No, it's absolutely true. And it is. And then once you do are able to tap into it, it's just about that creativity. Any way that you can be creative.
And, you know, just like I talk to you now, I live in this state. So when I think something, it becomes realized, because all things, there is no place, person, or thing. And so when I talk to you, like I'm talking to you right now, you're like, seafood, I'm feeling this culmination or this percolation of energy coming through my upper chest and my back. And every time you speak, it's like you're pupping, and it's like I'm sort of like this amber. Damn straight you are, because that's the mastery. That's what comes with it. And the replication is you being able to hold that, hold the line, hold the resonance. And that's the probably the fundamental goal, but yes, the misdirection of all people is they want it so bad they can't hold it. Mm-hmm. And then that will become deficient. So when you have energy healers, you have psychics, you have all these things, they're not able to hold it, so they get a fading transient image, or information comes in and out because they can't hold that resonance. And so I'm getting a feeling, when I look at something, it stays there as long as I want to observe it, and I'm able to access it at that resonance and maintain it for as long as I choose to. And that's why when I do these types of things, teaching someone psychic, mediumship, channeling, healing, oh yeah, like, you know, Lao Tzu is a classic example. When I'm channeling Lao Tzu, that means I have to hold that resonance, and it's being contained within this physical container as a tuning fork. It's maintained for the whole time. So if I'm doing a channel with Lao Tzu for an hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, you must maintain that resonance for it to be realized. And if you don't have the container, then it will not be realized. You have to meet the frequency from the vibration. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And so, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Whew. Whew. Yeah, he was so on it, Cruz. It's like, just answer the question. Did you order that code red?
You're not even saying the one-liner.
What?
You can't handle the truth.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm like,
that's like, you can't handle the truth. Yeah, right? That's like one of my favorites. It's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Yet, this is you're experiencing the frequency, you're experiencing the vibration of the energy, right, that we're sharing with you. Mm-hmm. Now, to maintain that, you must be at that resonance. That's how you maintain it. You resonate there, and you're able to maintain the frequency to be resonating with that. And that's why it's transient. Yes. That's why most healers are perplexed, because they don't really have a system. They go, I'm moving energy, and you know, and it comes and goes. I had a glimpse. Oh, my glimpse. Where is it? Because there's not a system that you're trained in to maintain the frequency that equals the resonance, and that resonance is how you're able to manifest this, manifest magic, healing. That's how it works. And so when we're doing this right now, and we're up to our favorite part where we do a little sampling, it's like the little toke. It's that gateway drug. It's either the rolling of the little doobie, or you take one hit of the crack pipe and you're in like Flynn. There's no turning back now. You got to taste, and you're going to chase that dragon. Oh yeah, because that taste is second to none. And just like I'm speaking right now, I can just, with my attention, intention, attune with all things, this present moment, you are feeling my very words vibrating at a frequency through your physical tissue. And that resonance is evident by what you're experiencing. Right? And so because you are just present, this is an expression. This is coming out. Now, to maintain that will be evident by your own infrastructure, right? Your infrastructure can either contain it and hold it or leave it. That's why people are like, oh my goodness, Buddhists use the physical body, and then when they're done, they toss it away like dirty underwear and they go to their next incarnation. Because this is a container, an anchor to this 3D reality. And how as a Taoist model, we amplify and saturate this very physical flesh that you consider your humanness, which we call soft technology, which is part of basically the simulated tuning fork. And so we palpate that and we create what we call eternal immortality, to take this physical body as far as we can in this incarnation. And that comes from the mastery of cultivating the elixir, which is part of the Dantian development, the energy field development. And so when I just do this, and you feel that start to ripple through your physical flesh, that's part of it, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. And so, hey, but you didn't sit there in the lotus position. I've been doing this a long time, many lifetimes. It can be realized instantaneously. Always remember that. Understand that if that isn't materialized and you're experiencing this sample, this toke, this hit from the crack pipe, and you would like to explore that on a deeper level and obtain your own mastery so you can resonate and maintain that, call me. Because that's where it comes down to. And the veil is lifted within our training. Never before within Taoism has, the green light I've been given by my teachers to share these inner secrets that have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years old, and being revealed that they're repeatable, that you can train in this stuff. Because that's what it's about.
That's the exciting part.
That is the exciting part. So, as we speak, and you are literally feeling like an amber, because I'm just speaking and you're feeling it, is there any thoughts, feelings, or emotions that you would like to share with the audience? Oh, if you enjoyed this material, please consider hitting a like and subscribing. It really helps with the algorithm. I've never done that before. It's kind of like a little contractive, quite frankly, but yeah. I kind of like it. You know what I mean? I'm like, am I just one of those YouTubers now? Wow.
You're part of the group.
I'm part of the collective lowering of the frequency, lowering of the vibration.
I think we just went over a lot today. And this is probably going to be one of those episodes you might want to rewatch a few times.
100.
Yeah.
And so now, how do you acquire specific profiles of this vibration, this frequency, this resonance, because everything has its own signature. Now, this is where the power of feng shui, the power of the magic, the Taoist internal alchemy, the talismans, the incantations, all that stuff. Remember, everything is words, letters, numbers, symbols, integrated deep within your DNA at a subatomic particle level. And so now it's about mastering, right? And so realizing that that can be acquired at will by the simplicity of the neurology of your physiology, that's a starting point. And so you acquire this mastery through your own cultivation. That's how it works. And all things, with that said, are energy, frequency, vibration. Energy, frequency, vibration. Energy, vibration, frequency. Frequency, vibration, energy. And that's the simplicity of it. So, grids, numbers, constellations, the very fabric of the Taoist alchemy and the Taoist affinity with the universe, which is an expression of consciousness, which is the Tao, the mother of all things, is what we speak of. And so shapes, symbols, numbers, letters are all integrated, and they all have their individual. You can literally carve out and move energy any way you choose to when you know how to lay these out. And it's all a system. So with that, you guys are already feeling that through your physicality. You understand that. And we understand the two fundamental mechanisms of our cultivation is Nigong, inner power, moving energy with your mind, and Qigong, moving energy with your breath. When you understand these fundamentals, crazy stuff happens. Close a sense, open a sense, just as Jade is already in there attuning that. It's like minty fresh, like that Bengay that you feel on your skin as a sort of like a sprinkling of magic dust of this cold, icy cold sort of sensation that you're experiencing. You're welcome. And so as I continue to and you feel the rippling effects of that through your physicality. But Shifu, Jofu, seafood, what happened? How were you able to do that? And I'm not even participating. You're already participating. You're already there. And so I'm bringing it, and you're now resonating, and you're holding the line on that. It's the frequency and the vibration from the energy that is created right here, right now. Oh, yeah. And so I'm going to get you guys to just do a simple little tune-up. You're going to just inhale, exhale into your upper dantian, inhale, exhale into your middle dantian, inhale, exhale into your lower dantian. Then you're going to hold it. I'm going to do an 18 count, and you're going to let it pack right into your physicality, and you tell me whether you're off to the races or not. So this is all part of the collective mechanisms that we spoke of today, right? So without any further ado, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, hold it. 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Oh, yeah. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. It's the age of Aquarius. that bobblehead experience that you're having, that palpable energy that's consuming your very action, your very processes, that expansive consciousness that you are sipping into is what we speak of. And you're resonating at the frequency of the vibration of the energy. Oh, yeah. Sit with that. Hold on to that. Let that be this very moment realized. I'm going to thank Jade. I'm going to thank the audience. And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Qing. And I'll see you on the next one, guys.